Hey folks, hope you're all well. So today we've got a lecture on how to start Olympic weightlifting. So if you're a beginner to weightlifting, you want to know how to get into Olympic style lifting, the snatch, clean and jerk, this is for you, all right? What will we be covering? We're going to start with covering what is Olympic weightlifting. We're going to look at 3 of the biggest obstacles to successful weightlifting. We're going to look at solutions to those obstacles, so specific drills, exercises. We're going to provide a beginner's weightlifting program, so I'm going to outline what a beginner's weightlifting program might look like. And then we're going to go through some frequently asked questions about getting started with weightlifting, just some little pro tips and some things that can help you out. If you find the video useful, if you want to just give it a quick like, that'd be really helpful, helps get it out to more people. And if you do like the content, if it's something useful, then feel free to subscribe. Right, stop holding up, let's jump into it. What do we mean by Olympic weightlifting? Well, we mean the sport of weightlifting. So that consists of the snatch and the clean and jerk. So this isn't a lecture for general strength training. I've got other lectures, other topics on like general strength training. We can go into those in different time. This is about the sport of Olympic weightlifting. What is weightlifting best for? Sometimes get asked. So if you're not wanting to compete in the sport of weightlifting, but you still want to learn the weightlifting movements, still want to learn the snatch and the clean and jerk, well, athletes may want to learn these variations for power development. It's really good use. Or you just might want to learn them for fun, just to enjoy feeling strong, powerful, athletic, explosive, any of those things. All right. Biggest obstacles to successful weightlifting. Well, one of the first things I see is technique. All right. So if you're new to the sport, if you've never snatched or clean and jerk before, it can be frustrating and it makes a lot of people quit too early. The second, my God, I'm 1 minute into video and already messing up, guys. You can tell it's a morning, right? Second issue, mobility. Many people can't achieve a deep overhead squat position. So with the bar up here, deep in the bottom of the overhead squat, a lot of people just can't achieve it. Or a comfortable rack position for the clean with the arms up here. It can be really uncomfortable when you first start, especially if you're someone that's come from bodybuilding. You've got quite a lot of muscle in your shoulders, your delts, your arms. Can actually make it pretty difficult to rack. So we're going to go through some drills, some things to help with that. Then we've got positional strength. Okay, so we got the snatch, the clean and jerk. They involve pretty unique positions where most people haven't yet developed strength. So I've seen guys who can deadlift 250 kilos and then after holding just the bar, 50 kilo bar at their knee for about 5 seconds in the snatch grip, they are shaking madly. Okay, so strength, although general strength does transfer, the transfer isn't perfect. So we do need to develop some specific positional strength for weightlifting. So let's look at the essentials. Let's look at how we sort of start these things, all right? So to overcome these obstacles of technique, mobility, positional strength, you need to do 3 things. We need to manage expectations and reframe the learning process. We need to use simple exercises to improve mobility, and I'll go into these in a couple minutes. And we need to build strength in key positions. So number 1, reframing expectations. What do I mean by that? Well, most people, when they start weightlifting, they have this expectation of quick progress. I think it's because the assumption is that the snatch and the clean and jerk, because they're performed in a gym, that they're just sort of like a fancy looking deadlift plus a squat combination. It doesn't really pair up. In my experience, both as a coach and a lifter, learning Olympic weightlifting is far closer to learning gymnastics or learning jiu-jitsu or learning another skill-based sport than it is to just picking up another movement in the gym, if that makes sense. It's very skill-based. It takes time to master. Next up, is Olympic weightlifting hard? Expectations, yes. It takes time. It takes dedication to learn. Okay, Olympic weightlifting is difficult. You need to get that into your head, all right? How long does it take to become an Olympic weightlifter? Well, depends on the level you want to sort of reach. Most lifters at the elite level have got 8+ years training experience. Many have 10 to 15 years of experience. If you want to compete at the top level, that's usually what it takes. However, if you just want to learn for fun, for local competitions, you can actually get a reasonable level of competency in just a few months of practice. So it's still going to take a bit of time. You're not going to learn it in a couple of days, but in a few months, you can get a reasonable degree of competency in this, enough to have some fun, to enjoy it, to get some real benefits out of it. Can you teach yourself the lifts? Okay, so another expectation people have is that you just watch a couple of videos, pick it up. You can try and teach yourself. That's what I did when I started. But your progress is going to be a lot slower, okay? My lifting suffered a lot because I tried to teach myself, and I'll 100% admit that. Once I actually got a coach, and I've worked with multiple coaches over the years, my lifting improved significantly, both in terms of my technique, the quality of it, the numbers. So it will really speed up your learning process. Look, with any skill, weightlifting included, years of experience, years of research, it tells us that regular feedback improves the rate of learning, okay? It's why we send our kids to schools rather than just hoping they learn tons of things by themselves, right? Education is important and coaches are important to learn complex skills, okay? So that's your expectations. That's just to reframe. That's to set your expectations for what weightlifting is going to look like if you do want to take part in it. If that still sounds good, then we're gonna look at mobility, okay? So first off, you got general static stretching, you know, hand against the wall, stretch away, little lat stretch up here, that kind of stuff. And dynamic mobility routines, you know, so like you might be swinging the arms out, you might be moving, doing some shoulder circles, that kind of stuff. Dynamic mobility routines are okay, general stretching is okay. They're going to be useful, they're going to help with providing a good general base of movement and flexibility, but the most time efficient and effective way that you're going to get better for weightlifting is with targeted specific exercises. And there's two that I'm going to recommend. The first are tempo overhead squats. Now, I know it seems like a bit of an a-hole thing to say, if you will. Like you're like, oh, I can't overhead squat, so how am I going to learn to overhead squat by overhead squatting? Well, I would say you can overhead squat. You just need to make a few adjustments and alter the load, okay? So yeah, maybe you can't bang on 100 kilos on overhead squat. Ain't gonna happen, right? But look, you just need to overhead squat more and make a few adjustments. Here we're gonna do, right? Grab a stick or like a light technique bar, okay? Even a broomstick, you know, one of those like, you know, it weighs, or a dowel, something that weighs literally less than a kilo, and start practicing. Go down really, really slowly. So you start with the bar overhead up here, you lock it out, and you move slowly down into the overhead squat, so I'll stay upright and balanced. And all you do is you go as far down as you can. Once you reach a point at which your posture starts to come forwards and we lean and it gets uncomfortable, see you later, cat. You're gonna stay there, pause for a few seconds, and then you're gonna stand back up. And you're going to do more and more reps like that. And what you'll find is that the more you do it, the more reps you do, you start getting further down and further down and further down until before you know it, in 3 or 4 weeks, you're like, oh, damn, I'm right at the bottom of an overhead squat now. This feels comfortable. And then what you do is you increase the weight and you repeat the process. So, you know, you go from your dowel up to a light technique bar. Maybe you go up to a 20 kilo bar and you just repeat the process. You go slowly down, use those eccentrics, take your time, get comfortable in the positions, and you get the mobility. Plus, honestly, it's going to improve your lifting so much just being comfortable there. Second mobility exercise. Front squats with a full grip on the bar, all right? So it's really tempting with front squats, especially if you just need to get them done, to just let it rest on the fingertips. And I do this plenty of times myself. There's nothing essentially wrong with it. But if you're looking to develop mobility, get a full grip on the bar. So full grip, you're round, even a hook grip if you can, and get round, and we're going to try and front squat like that. I know what you're thinking. Look, I can barely get into that position. I can barely do the front squat. Well, it's the same as you're going to do with those tempo overhead squats. Get into the position, set yourself up. I want you to set yourself up as shown in the video playing now, okay? So there's a great video. Quinn Hennock does a great movement video. Essentially, what he's saying is instead of coming close to the bar and then spinning around, the idea is to duck down under, so you drop your entire body position, get into position, and then push up into the bar. It really does help get into position, okay? I found a lot of people that are really stiff that couldn't get into the position by ducking down under the bar and then coming back up into it, managed to hit the position. So that's how I'd recommend you set up. I'll get a video on screen as well to help you out. Then what I want to do, just like the tempo, I want you to go slowly down while maintaining that upright torso, upright posture. Once you get as far as you can and your posture's starting to come forwards, pause in that position, wait for a few seconds, and then stand back up. And then just the same as with the overhead squats. Over time, you'll get lower and lower and lower, you get more comfortable, and you can add weight. So these are the two drills I'm going to want you to do, and they're going to improve your mobility faster than anything else you can do, all right? Next up, so we've talked about mobility, we've talked about technique and expectations. Building strength in key positions. While weightlifting positions can be awkward, you're not going to be strong in them, you need more time to get comfortable and build positional strength. Now, what's the good news here, okay? Well, you know the mobility drills we just talked about? You're just going to do the same stuff, all right? So tempo overhead squat and tempo front squat are great positional strength builders. So you've got a great crossover between mobility and strength. If you just keep on building up your tempo overhead squat in weight, little bits at a time, if you can get to the stage where you are doing tempo overhead squat with 60, 80, 100 kilos, your snatches are going to be fluid as anything. You'll be so much better, so much more comfortable in that bottom position. Same with a tempo front squat. If you can get to the point where you're doing a full grip, tempo front squat, controlled all the way down, all the way up, you're going to be so strong throughout that range of motion. You're going to catch cleans easy, recover them easy. So like, they're my two biggest recommendations for building strength in key positions. On top of that, I'm a big fan of having my lifters perform tempo, pause, and slow eccentric versions of the snatch and clean deadlift. So what I mean by that is that you might do set up, you do a snatch deadlift, so you like set up like you would for a snatch, you pull up to the hip, but then on the way down, you go slowly down. So instead of just going boom, straight down, you're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hitting every single key position along the way, keeping the bar really close, keeping your posture good, hitting all your key positions and going slowly down. It's gonna hurt something rotten, okay? These things are super uncomfortable, but they build a ton of strength. And the thing is, they're incredibly tough, even with light weights, okay? If you chuck on 40, 50, even 60 kilos, so these like slow eccentric and these tempo sort of snatch and clean snatch and clean deadlift movements, you're going to get a horrendous workout. Like it's going to be horrendous in a good way. It's going to be incredibly difficult, but it's going to be fantastic for building strength, and you don't have to use a ton of weight to do it. Okay, so try those out, and they're going to carry over to your lifts fantastically. Olympic weightlifting programming for beginners. So what would all this look like if we put this together? How would I suggest sort of structuring some of this? Well, all your workouts, what I've laid out here, all of these are to be performed on non-consecutive days for good recovery, and maybe preceded by a good dynamic warm-up. Here we go. I've been talking for too long. I'd like to see something like tempo overhead squats, tempo front squats performed as warm-up. So before your movements, get some warm-ups in. Day one, you're going to do some snatches, 8x3 at light weight, hang clean and jerk, 6x2 at light to moderate weight, back squat, 3x5, something like an RPE 8, and pull-ups, 3 sets of max. Day two, similar kind of format, we're just going to move it around a little bit. You're going to do a hang snatch, 6x2, light to moderate. You're going to do some clean and jerks, 5 sets of 3 at a light weight, push press, 3x5 at RPE 8, and then a couple of sets of glute to ham raises and accessory. Then day three, we're going to do 10 sets of snatch singles, 10 sets of clean and jerk singles, all at light to moderate weight, then 3x5 front squat at RPE 8 and a few pull-ups. So it's a really simple program, guys. There's not that much going on. And you'll notice I've not prescribed your weightlifting movements with percentages. And that's because as a beginner, percentages are basically useless because you're going to be improving at such a rate every week. And your technique is going to be so inconsistent and so variable session to session that percentages they don't make sense. They only percentage based prescription for intensity for weightlifting only works for more experienced lifters. So for you, when I say lightweight, I just mean a way that you can move easily without stressing about it. Just good technique. I don't care if that's just an empty bar. That's completely fine. If you have to use an empty bar for the first month of training, no biggie, fantastic, okay? I've seen videos of some of the best lifters in the world. Some of if you think some of these, the fantastically fluid Chinese weightlifting sort of team members that you look at, there's videos of them doing entire sessions with just an empty bar, just a stick in their training, all right? If they can do it and they can snatch ridiculous amounts, it's fine for you as well, all right? So keep it pretty light. You can go light to moderate on some of them if you just want to push it a little bit, so it's a little bit more challenging, still within the realm of not missing reps, so just be making reps, getting good quality practice in. And then I've said RPE 8, so leaving a couple reps in the tank for all of your sort of squats and your strength lifts, just because we don't need to push to maximum yet. You're still sort of at those beginner stages, you don't need to go crazy. Even if you have a really good strength base, we don't need to be pushing strength. This is enough to just keep strength ticking away in the background as you focus on your weightlifting. The only thing you might want to add to this potentially is some of those slow eccentric deadlifts or clean deadlifts. If you're struggling with some positional strength, you can add those into the program. Maybe just after you've done your squats is probably a decent way to put them, once or twice a week. I've also put a little link to this in the corner. So I wrote in Sports Science Insider an article on a beginner Olympic weightlifting program. This is where I've drawn this from. You can actually, so I've written an article that's got loads and loads of in-depth information. It breaks down this program, all the reasoning and the logic for it and how to best run it, just in a bit more detail, so you can check that out. I'll see if I can put the link down in the description somewhere. That is your program in a nutshell, okay? Just a sample. I'm not going to say it's perfect for everyone, but it's a really good place to start for most people that can practice about 3 days a week. How to get started with weightlifting. Okay, so these are FAQs, things I get asked, like what's some of the best things that I can do to get started? I'd say there's 2 things. So one is learn the hook grip. What is the hook grip? Well, most people, you're going to grab the bar just normally like this. The hook grip for weightlifting, your thumb goes over the bar and your fingers go over the top like that. So it's not like this, it's like that. Okay, that's your hook grip. That's what you're going to do. It's important for keeping control of the bar with these explosive fast movements. So that's going to really speed up your learning. Another question I get asked a lot is what are like hang cleans, what are power cleans, all that kind of stuff. So just learn the key terminology. So hangs are any lift that doesn't start from the floor. So this might be at the shins, the knees, above the knees. And then powers are any lift that is caught above a parallel squat. Okay, so they're the 2 main bits of terminology you'll come across. There are more for sure. Catalyst Athletics has a great comprehensive library of like 200 plus exercises. So if you're ever unsure of an exercise you've got to do, if you're not sure what's in your program or what this exercise is, check out their exercise library. It's fantastic. I'm not sponsored by them in any way or form. It's just the best library there is going by far. So check out their library. It's really useful. That would be pretty much everything you need to know. Okay, so looking at a quick summary here. You need to reframe your expectations. Weightlifting is a skill. It takes time. You need to work on your mobility with a combo of general stretching plus specific overheads like squat and front squat drills. You need to build positional strength with tempos, pauses, and slow eccentrics of the overhead squat, of the front squat, of the clean deadlift and snatch deadlift. And you need to try out the beginner program that I provided or something pretty similar and let me know how you get on with it. All right, that's the best way you can start weightlifting. Follow those steps, try out the program and see how you do. And if you've got any other advice, any tips for beginners or anything that you found helpful when you were starting out, share them down in the comments. Help your fellow weightlifters out. Could be a solid thing to do. And if you found the video useful, if you could literally just take 10 seconds to like it, it really helps with the whole YouTube algorithm thing. It definitely gets the video out to more people so more people can see it. It can help more people get into the sport. Similarly, if you want more videos like this, then feel free to subscribe. And lastly, what I've done down in the description is there's a link to my website where you can find really in-depth articles, programs, coaching options, all that kind of good stuff. And yeah, that is pretty much it for today. I hope you find this helpful for your Olympic weightlifting. I hope it gets you into the sport a little bit, gets you enjoying it, gets you improving your practice. I've kept you for 16 minutes now, way longer than I planned. So I'm going to let you get on with your day. Let's call it there, and I will catch you in the next one. See you then.